Welcome. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you may be. My name is Karen A. I'm here in Jerusalem, Israel, and this is the Afro-Euro Reco12 podcast. Reco12 is a family, a repository of recovery resources for those suffering from all addictions and all afflictions. Whether you identify as an alcoholic, a workaholic, a cocaine addict, an anorexic, a bulimic, a hoarder, a debtor, a compulsive overspender, compulsive overeater, a codependent, an Al-Anon, an adult child, we hope and we're almost sure that there is someone here that has a message that you will resonate with. We've got a bunch of recorded meetings and shares online where recovered addicts and codependents, afflicted, share their experience, strength, and hope. We're here every week at 8 a.m. UK time, 10 a.m. South Africa and Israel time. So you can always just log on and see, the potpourri of amazing recovered speakers from across the recovery spectrum. If you want to check us out, you can go to Reco12.com. If you're available to share, really, Waylon, I'd love to get you on here. I don't know if we had you on here. And anyone else on this call, just message me, because we'd love to have your experience, strength, and hope. While this meeting is intimate and small when it's live, Justin told me that about 350 people listen to recordings every week. So you make a difference. This makes a difference. Oh, and a fun fact here, Nadia, my fellow here, Joanna from the UK, is on the call. She found me and reached out because she had heard our mommy podcast and said it was so amazing and powerful for her recovery. And that's the gift that keeps on giving. And I said, you know what? We stopped for a while. Nadia was working, and I'm going to reach out because maybe it works for her again. And, as higher power would have it, it did. And here we are. So if you want to listen to other recordings, go to Reco12.com. If you'd like to share, you could upload a little snippet there, or really the shorter way is probably just to reach out to me directly. We want you. We want your experience, strength, and hope. And who knows, you just might save a couple of lives. If you'd like to contribute a seventh tradition, you could do so at Reco12.com/support, and we accept PayPal and Venmo. Without further ado, I'd like to introduce my sister, my friend, Nadia J in Hermanus, South Africa. Nadia J will be talking about parenting in recovery. So buckle your seatbelts. She's got a lot of Care Bear love to shine out to you from her heart, her big heart, and a lot of recovery wisdom, experience, strength, and hope, discipline, working this program day in and day out. It is my honor to introduce Nadia J. Thanks, Nadia.
Hey, Karen. So good to see you again, sis, and some names and faces that I see here. Hi, everyone. I'm Nadia, and I'm a recovered, please love me aholic, please everything aholic, addict, recovered, and a grateful, grateful child of God. And it is because of this 12-step program and the solution as outlined in the big book of Alcoholics Anonymous, an incredible sponsorship and the love from this fellowship, that I get to be a parent today. I get to be a parent today. So when we do our fear inventory, there's a fear prayer where we ask God to remove the fear at once, and we play the role that He would have us be. We play the role that He would have us be. Why? Because on page 62 at the bottom, before we took our third step prayer, we took a sincere position where we allowed God to be our principal, our director, our father. And that means that I get to be an actor. The problem is my whole life I was front stage, in the middle, and booting anybody out. No supporting roles. No, I was the supporting role. I was I was the lead. I was the director. I sorted out the tickets. I sorted out the chairs. Told you where the chairs had to be, how the ballerinas had to dance, and I did the lighting all at once. And I came into this program thinking that drugs and alcohol was my problem, but it wasn't. I found out that my thinking was rooted in selfishness and self-centeredness. And I'm going to tell you a shocking little anecdote, and I'm sure there's some parents who are going to hear this. This disease of alcoholism does not care if you're a parent. It is so powerful that it will override a parent's instinct to protect and nurture and care for their own children. I'm not going to go too in depth about the war stories and the things that I've done as a parent in active, but it does involve a lot of verbal abuse, a lot of locking up children, getting them out of my way so that I can do what I need to do, forgetting them, forgetting that they at school wedding, forgetting that they slept over at someone's house that I don't even know. Just to get them out the way. I said to you, there were no supporting roles in my life. They were in my way. If you were in my way, I made sure that you got out of my way. And when I came into this program, I've had so many wonderful, loving, caring sponsors. And if you've ever never heard of the word God Squad, I'm going to give you, it's not big book, but get someone on your God Squad. We are soldiers. We are soldiers for God. We do this work for Him on the daily, and we need a squad around us. We need people that we can take out step 10 to. We need people that we can go take another step 5 to, do it with multiple people, but have a God Squad. And if you're a parent, I tell you that God Squad is indispensable. I came into this program and I was driven with fear, selfishness, self-pity. Oh, holy moly. Self-pity. What a bad mom I've been. I don't have my children. They both were taken from me. My youngest was 3 and my eldest was 9. And my sponsor wouldn't let me have. She would not let me hang around in that quicksand of self-pity because I'm driven by that stuff. I'm so powerless to that selfish, self-centered, self-seeking behavior that at 18 months in this program, working with a sponsor, doing the written work, showing up for meetings, 1 or 2 service positions here or there, I was suicidal and my children were still not home. I thought when I come back into the program, I'm all, here I am on recovery. Everybody's going to think, oh, this is glorious. Let's send the kids back to Nadia. Let's send the animals back to her. Let's give her back the car, the house, the keys, the mortgage. I am in full flight from reality, right? The doctor's opinion tells us that I'm completely delusional. I suffer from an illusion that I'm like other people, and I'm not. I'm not like other people. And I also don't get to parent like other people. I don't get to wake up in the morning, grab my phone, switch on the kettle, go outside, have a cup of coffee, hang out on WhatsApp and Facebook and whatever else social media platforms there are. I get to wake up before the rest of the house does, because the steps 10 and step 11 and step 12 disciplines are vital to my daily reprieve, are vital to my family's daily reprieve. Because if I do not tap into God first thing in the morning, I am going to tap into me. And me looks like page 52, the bedevilments. I have problems with personal relationships. I am prey to misery and depression. Do you know what that means? That means that misery and depression come and pick my bones like vultures. They pick at my flesh and pick at my eyeballs. They pick at me. I can't make a living. And I'm absolute victim to the 4 horsemen: terror, bewilderment, frustration, and fear, driven by selfishness, self-seeking behaviors, dishonesty, resentment, and fear. And you know what? If you do the maths on that, actually, it's 100 million, I think. Maybe someone can correct me. You can find me and tell me that I did my maths a little incorrectly. But that is a lot of weirdness and madness that I'm tapping into first thing in the morning. And then that gets taken to the family. And the way that I make food and the way that I make their school lunches and the way that I get her into the vehicle and the temperature that's in the vehicle, the ambience before she gets out. And by the time we get to school, it's a 12-minute drive. I've screamed at her. I've tried to control her. I've told her how terrible she's doing things and how she could do things better and how she should. And I'm shooting all over the damn show. So the idea that I'm like anybody else, normal people, has to be smashed. And the commitment that I have to step 10 and step 11 and 12 is on the daily. On the daily. I'll give you a couple examples of how beautiful this program is and the power of God and how deep the power of God goes. My daughter, Karen will know this story. My daughter was at the age of 9. She went to her father. It was a safer option for her to be with her dad. And thank God, you know, look how he cares for my family. Even when I can't, he's caring for my family. She was safe. She was educated. She was in a beautiful home, loving parents. She was in good hands. So she comes back to me at the age of 14. And I'm sleeping on, I'm in recovery. I'm now around about 2 years, you know, 2 years in. I'm sleeping on stretchers, on people's mattresses. I've got people just being so gentle and kind and giving me a home. And then when my time runs up there, then I get to stay somewhere else. I'm not employed. I'm not gainfully employed, but I'm working this program like my life depends on it. And I'm trusting and I'm trusting and I'm trusting. And I get a phone call from her dad to say, I hear it's going well. Are you ready to take her back? And I just automatically say yes. Just yes. I've got nothing, guys. I don't have a home. I don't have a car. I'm not employed. I've just explained to you I'm sleeping on stretchers, right? And something just says to me, yes. Because we demonstrate through us what God can do. Now he's going to demonstrate what this powerful program can do. It's going to turn Nadia into a parent because I never was. I couldn't be on my own power. So she gets sent home back to me. And within the 2 weeks that she's up there in Zambia, my brother Waylon will know what I'm talking about. It's his neighbor. While she's up there packing and getting ready to move back to South Africa, in those 2 weeks, I was given work with a vehicle. I got to get a flat. I had someone help me stand surety. I had the AA fellowship in Hermanus just donating furniture and curtains and cutlery and crockery and beds, you name it. We kitted that flat out. And by the time she arrived in South Africa, I was ready to play the role that he had assigned. And that was to be a mother to this child who has experienced horrors beyond anybody's. Like I said, we don't need to go into the war stories. We talk in a general way of what we were like, what happened, and what it's like for us now. And what it's like for me now is I have a teenager who's got a whole lot of mama and a whole lot of her dad in her and a whole lot of her own spunk and her own journey and her own self-will and her own presence of God, because deep down inside every man, woman, and child is the great reality. And she has an awareness, and this house is full of 12-step work. Full of 12-step work. There is constantly a big book study that I'm presenting or that I'm attending or a newcomer on my screen, because thank you, God, for Zoom and technology I can get to sponsor remotely. There's constantly a stream of newcomers in my home. And we're crunching the book and we're praying and we're meditating and instructing them to go do the same. And she hears this language and she hears the Spirit and she feels the Spirit of God moving in this house. She feels it moving. Can't make this stuff up. And she's a teenager, right? So she's still running on self-will, because like the book says, any life run on self-will can hardly be a success. And she's hanging out with her friends, and there's alcohol and there's vapes and there's marijuana and, you know, what's in the world, the things of the world, the things that I sought and thought that I could create a spiritual experience with. And it almost killed me. It almost killed me, but it also brought me into these rooms. So I'm grateful for that life. I used to hear a lot of people say they're grateful alcoholics and addicts. And I used to think they were insane. I was like, why would you say something like that? But I know, because my dark past, the crazy, crazy, crazy way my life looks when I'm running the show from the age of 15, the first time I picked up a drink and I thought the heavens opened, because it was a spiritual experience, because I couldn't fit in my body. I couldn't stand the noise in my head. I couldn't stand hearing everybody else's thoughts and feelings. And when I had that first sip, the heavens opened. And I remember it so acutely. But my dark past has become my greatest asset, because I can remember those days in such fine detail that I'm able to be there for her and her melee of friends that she has. And I'm there to be with them through, we've had pregnancy scares. We've had truancy where they've were almost asked to leave the school, being expelled. drunk on street, accidents. You know, guys, we know what it looks like, right? When we're out there running the show, running on self-will, no God, no asking God for help, no checking in with God, no third step life, no seventh step dedication, none of that. We know what it looks like. You're living on the edge of the cliff all the time. And I get to be there for her. And I was going to tell you a story. One night, I knew something wasn't right. She wasn't where she told me she'd been or she was going to be, and the parents were in on it. Whatever house they were going to, those parents were in on it. I could just sense my spider senses, my my sponsor senses were just kicking in. Long story short, I got a hold of her, and you know, the tongue was in knots, and the aggression and the blackout, and you could hear all the madness of a big night drinking. And I had to go fetch her. You know, she wasn't safe. I went to go fetch her, and my heart was pounding. Oh my gosh, my hands were shaking. My brain was racing with thoughts, and I remembered my step 10 practice. When agitated or doubtful or confused, and I was all of that. I was driven by all of that stuff. I pause. I get to pause. And I was in my car driving, and then I remembered. I paused. So I stopped the car, pulled it off to the side of the road. I took a deep swallow and I prayed out loud. It was a little bit of like a weird evangelical moment. And I turned over and I looked at the seat next to me and I said, right, you said that I'm here and I'm your child and you're the one with all the power. So I'm telling you now, you, God, you have to parent here because I have no idea what I'm about to do. What I'd like to do is go and shout at all those kids and phone all their parents and tell them and get to the restaurant where they got all that. That's what I'd like to do. But that ain't helpful. Because I remember in my 12-step work that every interaction I have with every single human being is that I do not blow any chance of ever being helpful. And that I'm the only person with the big book in those children's lives. And if I went into that parking lot and I did all of that, I would have blown 12 chances of those kids ever coming to ask me for help one day. God willing, they don't have to. And I prayed and I said, right, you're taking over. And I let him take over. I let him, because that's what it says. We play the role he assigns and we let him demonstrate through us the power of God. We let God. And, you know, that night, because of the way that God showed up in me, loving, kind, caring, protective, there's so many beautiful adjectives that explain and describe the God in these wonderful pages. That child and her friends have come to me with some hair-raising experiences where they've come to ask me for help. And I've been able to be there to help. And if I didn't know what I was doing, I had a God squad. I had a bunch of women and men who are parents in this program, who work this program like their life depends on it, because it does. And I get to phone them and I say, I don't know. I don't have the answers. I don't know what I'm going to do here. And they say, have you prayed? And then I say, all right, let's do it. Let's go through the process. I pray. I ask God to remove the fear. I discuss these things with somebody at once. Not that I get that right all the time. I make amends in case I did something wrong or hurt anybody. And then I help try and turn my thoughts to somebody I can help. And I tell you, those exercises have helped me parent gently, consciously, with an awareness that I didn't even, oh man. And yes, something else. I want to share some promises that came true. We get on page 63, it says, when we take this position, remarkable things happen. Remarkable. I mean, what a deal. Who doesn't want remarkable? Who doesn't want remarkable things happening in their life? When she moved back to me, I wasn't even allowed to look in her direction. If I did, she would say to me, Mom, don't look at me. Don't look at me. And if I maybe brushed past her in the passage, she would flinch and become stiff as a board. Now, she does my hair for me. If my makeup's a little bit out of place, she'll come and she'll gently touch and wipe, and she'll touch and she'll linger. If I go into her room, she'll quickly pat down her bed next to me and lift up her blanket and say to me, come here, and I'll get to lie next to her and snuggle next to her. And she'll talk incessantly about this one and that one, but that's fine. That's fine. Because I want remarkable things. I want remarkable things in my life, and I see them happen, and I see them, and it's when I dedicate my life to this program. And now I'm in a new phase of my life. She was given a scooter, a moped, a little motorbike. And he has a whole new level of working the program because, again, I have an idea that I can somehow control and enjoy the fact that she now has transport. And I don't actually know where she's going and what time she's going to leave and how she's going to drive and in what state she's going to drive. And there's all the apps in the world that can help you monitor these kids and all the apps in the world because they ain't going to work. Why? Because I become less and less interested in my little plans and designs because I've taken a sincere position to trust God. Here's just a whole new level. I'm not going to lie. I'm not going to lie that this week I have been knotted, twisted, because some of us come in here pretty badly mangled, and I've allowed pretty badly mangled in parenting. I have. And then also just on a side note, I have another little person. He turned 10 this week. But he turned 10 in a different continent. It was one of the consequences of my relapse. So this sobriety date that I celebrate every June is not my first one. And the consequence of that is that alcoholic is like a tornado, right? We come out of that cyclone cellar and it's destroyed. Sweet affections have been uprooted. Relationships are destroyed. It's just absolute carnage around us. And part of that carnage was an ex-husband that was terrified by me and a little boy that was just as terrified and had to trust one adult, and that was his dad. But I get to celebrate his birthday with him on a video call. And through the slow process of making amends to his father, which included a lot of financial amends and a lot of really, really, really tough things that I had to admit to because I'm a lying, stealing, cheating kind of person when I'm not connected to God. Those are the things I do. But through the slow process of amends and committing to those amends, I've been able to nurture and garner a small, not me, sorry. There is no me here. God has helped this relationship with him slowly but surely progress, where I get to see him on a video call for his birthday. And he gets to involve me on what presents they're going to buy him. And I get to contribute. I get to contribute. I get to be a contributing member of that family, however it looks. So I just want to, I can feel the gratitude welling up in me. Then I start losing words and I start losing track of thought or whatever it is that happens to me when I do this work. But if there's anybody in here today that's perhaps a week or two away from picking up again and you don't know it, and you're sitting in this room and you're thinking, I don't have what these people have. Why do I feel like I never have a manual to life? When I was using, I always felt like I didn't have a manual to life. And now I'm in the 12-step fellowships and it doesn't feel like I have a manual to life. There is a manual to life for anybody who's in here, who's new or wondering what's going on. It's the big book of Alcoholics Anonymous. It looks like a secondhand book. It's got weird language in it. It's from a time that none of us can even remember or don't think we even have family members alive from them. But if you can get somebody who is armed with the facts, who has a little bit of what you're hoping to have, and they've walked through these pages. It says on chapter 5, you hear it at every meeting, we beg of you, we beg of you. I'm begging you, brother or sister, if you have not had a big book experience, I beg of you, do. It gets you to do. It doesn't just help the drink problem. It helps the parenting problem, the marriage problem, the overeating problem. Karen said it in the beginning. Gamblers, debtors, overeaters, sex and love addicts, drinkers, alcoholics, black sheep, tax evaders. I don't care. I don't care. If you're having a life that you just keep trying to make better, and nothing's working. The self-help books are not working anymore. The retreats haven't worked. The diet pills are not working. The pills that the psychiatrists are giving you, the rehabs, nothing. There might just be a solution in this book. Might just. I don't know. But I do beg of you to give it a go. Thank you so much for being here with me. And thank you so much, Karen, for just your relentless service to this platform. And Justin as well. I love you all so much. Thank you and God bless.
Sorry, I cut out there for a second. Nadia, did you finish?
Yes. I'll finish with the
Hello?
St. Francis prayer.
No, we want to take Q&A. Sorry, my Zoom kicked me out for a second. Did you end there while I got kicked out?
Yeah, I did.
Okay. Thank you so much. I heard about your son. I heard about your daughter. I heard about your ex-husband. I heard a lot of recovery. I heard about really surrendering to God, what it all looks like, how the recovery is going to look like, how the parenting is going to look, what the child custody is going to look like. I hear a lot of surrender, a lot of 12 steps, a lot of throwing yourself in, a lot of giving your mind, your body, your house. I hear a lot of step 3 care, all of you good and bad, ready there to do his will. Letting God be the parent, getting out of the driver's seat, stopping being the director, arranging the chairs, checking the tickets, doing the lights, acting, shoving the other actors off the stage. You hear a lot of humility, a lot of surrender, a lot of service, a lot of letting go, a lot of activity. And I'm sure that everyone on the line has some questions for you. I want to now invite everyone to ask questions about Nadia's share, whether it's about her own recovery, about her daily practices, living in 10, 11, and 12. Okay, great. About the God Squad, about being a sponsee, finding the right sponsor, about sponsoring and the importance of that. So people on the line, you can put your questions in the chat and we'll check that, or please just go ahead and unmute one by one and Nadia can take your questions. Batter up. Who's first?
Got questions about addiction, recovery, or just life in general? Let's noodle it out together. Grab your big book, a pen, a highlighter, and a notepad, and join Nikki M and me, Justin B, on Reco12 Noodle It Out with Nikki M. Each episode, we take real-life questions, ours, yours, and those from the recovery community, and dig deep into the big book of Alcoholics Anonymous to find real, practical solutions. So, if you're ready to do the work and apply the solution, tune in to Noodle It Out with Nikki M, streaming now on your favorite podcast platform.
Can jump in. Hey Nadia, hey everyone. My name is Waylon. I am, yes, everything. I don't really have a question. I am not a parent, but for whatever reason, I could just relate to what you shared as a son, as a child. And yeah, it just all made sense because I related to everything that you said with the control, because I did exactly the same. And I put my parents, or my parents got divorced, my mom just into such turmoil because of my actions, my behavior, my everything. And recovery, when I went into rehab in 2017, everything changed for me. Everything. And I'm just so grateful for the program, so grateful for the God Squad, so grateful for the community. And believe it or not, grateful for the COVID pandemic, because it brought this online community that I would never, ever get to talk to, get to meet, get to connect with all over the world. And it's just such a miracle. The question that I do have, one of my sponsees is she does not let go. She holds, she goes from one resentment to the next. And I am struggling with that to try and get through to her how to let go, because I think the way I'm explaining to her to let go, to pray, to connect with her higher power, she's not hearing me, and I don't know where to go from now. So I would be grateful for some feedback.
Thanks, Waylon. Thank you so much. There's a sick man's prayer that you can teach her. I'm not very sure where you're at in the step work. There are a lot of timelines in the big book, quick, vigorous, next, launch. So, we get through this work as quick as possible with them. But those resentments, is she, first of all, you look at her step 10 and step 11 practice. Prayer and meditation is a non-negotiable. The upon awakening and when we retire are non-negotiables. Bill knew, and it was so clever because in 86, 87, 88, he says, when we retire, that's the first instruction. Huh? But doesn't a day start when the sun rises? No, Bill knows that when we go to bed and we haven't cleared and we haven't asked those inventory questions, where was I resentful? Where was I dishonest? Where was I, et cetera, there's 9 questions. He knows if we don't do that process, we go to bed, we get woken up at 2 o'clock in the morning, and we are rehashing that argument, and we have got all the evidence, and we're back in column 2 of step 4. And if she sees that it's repeating, take it back to step 4, a nice, deep, juicy step 4, and do the sick man's prayer. And teach her, and I don't know how far in she is, but the sick man's prayer on page 67 says we ask God that perhaps these people were spiritually sick, these people that she's so angry about or angry with. Take her back into the step 4 and with the sick man's prayer. And if there's one of those resentments that are sticking, page 552 is our resentment prayer, where we pray for the man that we hate or dislike or just can't get around him, wring his damn neck. We pray for his happiness, his health, all the things she would wish for herself. Even though she's going to do it through gritted teeth, she does it every day for 2 weeks, because if you will be free, and ask her, how free does she want to really be? And maybe, just maybe, Waylon, she hasn't had a solid step 1 experience. Maybe she does not know how powerless to her own fears and dishonesty and self-seeking behaviors, and how her thinking will hijack her and to make her think that she's right and that she can control and enjoy this person still. Thank you. Yep. You're doing great. Thank you. I see here that Joanna B asked a question. Nadia, you talked a bit about, but I'd love to ask what you do in the most difficult parenting moments which trigger big emotions in you. Thank you so much for that question. Most difficult parenting moments. I pray. And I help other people. I throw myself that much harder into working with others. When we do our sex inventory, it says when sex, and we line that out. Remember, we make this big book work for us. Make this work for you. This is a love story from the first 100 that found the recovery solution. This is a love story. We love you guys. We know what you're going through. Here's our love letter. Do this, and you're going to get what we had. It's in here. But that means that this book is written for you. So make it work for you. On our sex inventory, which is on page 70, 69 and 70, God's got a great sense of humor. He puts the sex inventory on page 69. But it says there, when sex becomes troublesome, that's in the middle of that page 70, sex, line out children, teenagers, school, work, boss, KPIs, targets, sales targets, I don't know, whatever the things we are that we're facing. When those things become troublesome, we throw ourselves that much harder into working with others, because that is how we survive trials and low spots. It's the only immunity we have. Praying, and throwing ourselves that much harder into working with others. I know it sounds crazy. It's like, yeah, but what are you doing with your teenager? What are you telling her? What are the instructions? What are you doing over there? I ain't doing nothing over there because I ain't got no power. I ain't got no power. And number two, that is not my teenager. It's not mine. It's God's.
I also just got home. I also got home a little bit. Yeah. Sorry. You look like you fell.
Yeah.
Ami, I think you are unmute. I hope that helps you out, Joanna.
The next person wants to.
Hi, Nadia. Hi, just to say that. Oh, sorry. Yeah, go ahead, whoever that is.
Okay, it's Gloria. I am just going through the steps again, just about to start step 4. And I feel like I've really, I can really sort of see, that when I try to run the show, it's not my show anymore, it's God's show. And, feel like I've pretty much got step 3, but I still have like small resentments. Like the sponsor didn't call yesterday and I was a little resentful and, it was due for a call. So, but it wasn't like, usually I would have stewed on that. Like I would have really gone to town and really enjoyed it, in a sort of a sick sort of way. But now, I mean, I know that, my resentments is something when I'm disturbed, there's something wrong with me. But I still have them, just little ones pop up like that. And I don't know if it's habit or whatever it is. But anyway, I'm just wondering if there's something I'm not doing or, should be doing.
Oh, my love, Gloria, you know what? Thank you for sharing that. Bill knew we were going to ask these questions because we want perfection. And what we claim here is spiritual progress, not spiritual perfection. And on page 84, it says, on the second last paragraph, it says, we continue. So this is it. Unfortunately, we're going to have to watch for these things because they ain't going to go away. We're not going to end up walking on water here or ascending into heaven. Maybe. I don't know. I still don't know what God's plan is. But Bill says when these crop up, which means they are going to crop up. So you're doing nothing wrong, my angel. If you're sponsoring and you're carrying this message and you're trusting God on the daily, you're just having a human experience. Fear and selfishness and self-seeking and resentment, they're gonna come up. We're constantly, remember, we are in constant collision with others that are also running on self-will. Constant collision. So when these crop up, they're gonna crop up. They're gonna crop up. We just do this one day at a time. One day at a time, sis.
Yeah, they have softened a lot in this recent, so that, like, I guess because I've really had a good look at step 3, I feel like, I'm like, okay, it's not my show. I've really sort of, maybe that's why they've softened a lot. Because I've been through the steps before, but I didn't really understand step 3 very well. And this time I really is like, oh, okay. So, I'm here to be helpful. I'm not here to, get my own way anymore. That's just out of the picture. You're not going to get your own way. I mean, I was told that a couple of years ago, a message from God, you from now on, you will never get your own way again. But I just, didn't really take it in. I thought it sounded good, but I didn't really take it in. So thank you. Thanks for the answer.
Thanks, Gloria. Thanks for being here with us. Nira, go ahead, sis.
Hi. I just wanted to say that, thank you for sharing your story. I can really relate because I have a 11-year-old son and also, plagued by perfectionism. No matter how many promises I get through in my recovery, I'm looking for the things that are not perfect, and then I remind myself, I am an addict, I'm an addict for life. My ism, even though the addictions have fallen off and it's long ago, recovery is not just a straight line. And in fact, the ism self, the liar, is doing push-ups in the background. And when I'm weak, it comes back stronger. But without that, how do I know how much I've recovered? How do I know how much I have faith in the higher power? So I look at them as tests to just pass a little bit.
Hey Spearheads, if you're looking to dive deeper into the big book of Alcoholics Anonymous with people who live the solution, then you won't want to miss Reco12 Big Book Roundtable. Join David G, Nikki M, and me, the moderator Justin B, 3 recovered addicts from multiple fellowships, as we break down the big book line by line. In each 30-minute episode, we share our experience, strength, and hope in a real, raw, and practical roundtable discussion. So, if you are ready to learn and apply what you learn, tune in to Reco12 Big Book Roundtable on your favorite podcast platform.
I love that. Thanks, Nira. You know, on page, so often in our meetings, we're always talking about the 12, they do the preambles, right? How it works, the 12 traditions, the 12 promises. And everyone, not everyone, that's a general sweeping statement. Some people think that there are only 12 promises in the book. There are not 12 promises in the book. Each step has a promise, and there's a couple in between, and there's a couple of dark promises, and they tally to up about 300 promises. I could be wrong again. It's what I've seen and read out there. And some of them are dark promises.
There's a list. There's a list. If you want to message me, there's a list. Nikki has done a list. There's some like 359 promises.
There's so many. But also a description of a recovered addict, alcoholic, is on page 84 and 85. We cease fighting everything and everyone. We are in a position of neutrality. We react sanely and normally. We find that this has happened automatically. So no having to force ourselves or wrest satisfaction out of this world. This stuff just comes. It just comes. Holy cow, is that not awesome? My whole life I've been forcing to feel good, to be nice, to be forcing. And I don't have to. I get to relax and take it easy, because the Spirit of God, it's the power of God that we're working with here. Not God. He's here whether we believe in him or not, and whatever shape and form he can. That's non-negotiable, guys. What we are doing in this program, and people like Karen, and I know Nira, I know you've been out there, I've seen you in action, sister, and we help people plug their finger into the God socket, and they get juiced up by the power of God. And it's with no thought or effort on our part. We get to show up the way that they describe us in page 84 and 85. We don't get to do it perfectly, though. We don't. Thank God, because then I wouldn't need God. And let's back up. We all know what that looks like, right?
Yeah.
Hi, Nadia. Thanks so much for your share. Just a quick question. Can you just talk a little bit, Audrey, a grateful recovered addict of many things. Can you just talk a little bit about your step 11 practice?
Audrey, first of all, that little man that I spoke of today that turned 10 on Wednesday is in your beautiful green country. So I always get excited when I see Ireland after someone's name. My step 11 practice. Okay. So first of all, I need to be very honest, because this is a program of rigorous honesty. It is winter in South Africa. It is maliciously cold here, right? Okay, I don't need to tell you nothing about cold. You're in Ireland, you know all about it. It is very cold, but I usually, when the weather allows, and I'm working up the courage to practice this in winter as well, I wake up an hour before anybody else does in the house. So we get moving here at about 5:30. So about 4:30, I get up. This does not make me special or cool. I know that I need that hour with God, with you guys, with the literature, with prayer, with meditation. I need it. I need it like I need oxygen and air and food and water. I wake up at 4:30. The first thing I do when I feel my bladder's full and I'm stirring and the bed's a little bit uncomfortable, it's time to wake up, my alarm's about to go off. I always wake up before my alarm. I go, God, direct my thinking. Please divorce me from selfishness, resentment, dishonesty, and fear. Because those are the instructions in the big book. And you know what? I'm married to that stuff. I wake up married to that stuff every morning. I wake up untreated every morning. And those are the first words that come out of my mind. I get up, I put on the kettle, a candle, because I can't handle bright lights. I can't handle bright lights so early in the morning. It's hectic. Candle, my literature. I followed one of the step 11 instructions, be quick to see where religious people are right. And a lot of us in this fellowship, we ignore that one because we think that they're saying, be quick to see that they are right. No, read. It says, be quick to see where they are right, which means not all of it is right. Okay. And that's up for you to find out and what is and what does work for you. So I wake up, I do a devotion with the big book. And I have beautiful guided meditations that my lovely sister Paige F does on the big book. That's a different channel, but she does some beautiful guided meditations on there. I have to teach myself how to meditate still. It doesn't come easy. It doesn't come easy. And then I do some step work. I'm checking out my amends. How far am I? Have I made some approaches? I'm constantly working my amends list. And then another thing that I do that I saw where religious people are right, my Muslim brothers and sisters, they pray 5 times a day. So I have a timer on my phone. It's an app. It goes off 5 times a day, times that I've selected, and it reminds me to pause. I get up, I go to the bathroom. I've done other weirder things on my knees in the bathroom, trust me, if I'm at work or at home, or I go into the garden and I take time to pause, reflect, conscious contact, say thanks, pray for somebody, whatever it is. And then my nighttime routine is not that great. It's not that great. But I have a little app, that takes me through some more scripture. I listen to a share. Again, I go through some, and I plan my day. I look at tomorrow. So yeah, it's not perfect, but I'll tell you one thing, Audrey, what I do realize is what I'm doing today is not what I did 3 years ago, because I cannot stay full on yesterday's meal. I can't stay clean on yesterday's shower. So there comes a time in your journey where you'll be like, nah, this is not working anymore. It's falling flat. My prayers are falling flat. I don't feel like I'm not feeling the vibe, and then we progress, and then we find something else, and we're seeking, because A, B, and C, I'm alcoholic and I cannot manage my life. No human power can. God can, and he will if we seek him. So we're on a constant path of seeking. Send my love to Ireland.
I want to make a step 10, 11, and 12 suggestion. I think it was Nira who said kind of like, sometimes it's hard to focus. I'm paraphrasing what you said, so I apologize. You said something along the lines of like, sometimes it's hard to see, the good, or you see a lot of the, the difficult things in our children, or the difficult things, in ourselves. If you're, self-flagellating like I am, I can be when I'm in my character defects. I want to encourage you all to, to go visit the oncology ward, go to the emergency room, I just went to a retreat, I'm a widow, so I went for a retreat for widows and orphans, and it was like, wow, I got friends, with kids in psychiatric wards. I had kids whose kids didn't want to be there. I had kids who were, really doing poorly, and I'm not happy for their suffering, but I was like, you know what, like, if you're having trouble with being in gratitude and counting your blessings, which, I could quickly go into that, just forgetting gratitude and forgetting how to get there. And it's like, just go somewhere like that, widows and orphans, an orphanage home, oncology ward, and, that will get you, real humble, real grateful, real fast. Do you have any other questions in here?
Hey Reco12 Spearheads, if our recovery resources have helped you, please consider a donation. Your financial support, as well as your word-of-mouth support, keeps Reco12 running and reaching the man who is still sick. Donate today at reco12.com/support, or check the show notes for PayPal and Venmo links. Every contribution helps carry the message. Thanks for being a Reco12 spearhead.
I see here in the chat, Brandy Haas. It's just, I was waiting for you to chat. It's good to be in a room with you again. Please, can you share more about acceptance, including the process of accepting the distance and being a mom from far to your son? When they moved to Ireland, I was served with court papers 2 weeks afterwards. So I did not fight the process. I wasn't in a position to fight the process. I let them go. So all the interviews and the paperwork, everything, I signed amicably and I let it go. I will not lie. There were times that I was a little bit red in my face and not very friendly, but I let them go. 2 weeks after they were there, I was served with court papers to annul my parenting rights. And I just knew that I had to practice acceptance, that serenity prayer that we have, because I could feel my mind was about to blow. It was about to blow, and I was nothing. It says in the big book, burn into the consciousness of every man and woman that they can get and recover despite. We don't need the job. We don't need the family. I don't need the child. I have to recover. That's my priority. And I took the court file and I prayed over it. And Brandy, this is only the power of God that made this happen. It is only God that could have made this happen. One of the 9-step promises that we will come to realize that God does for us what we could not do for ourselves. That is a legit promise. They're all legit, but that was legit for me. I took that court case, I prayed over it, and I said, right, God, if I have to fight this thing, then you're going to give me the courage and the tools and the people and all the materials that I need to fight this battle. High court ain't no joke. It ain't no joke. It costs a lot of money, and it's serious business, right? And I said, but if I'm not going to fight this, and Alexander is not going to come home to South Africa, I am going to beg you right now that you need to give me a peace that transcends all understanding. Because suicide was my best friend that time. Fear, right? The ultimate sacrifice. I was at the jumping off point because I was under the illusion, this is my boy. It's mine. How, I'm the mom. And it was just more self dying. And I woke up the next morning and I had a peace beyond my own understanding. I had a peace beyond my own understanding, and it has completely remained with me. If we sincerely desire what we're asking God for, and it aligns with his will, I'm telling you, it happens. It happens. It talks about it in the book as well. If what you want, and you're not praying for your own selfish ends, because what help would it be to Alexander every time that he speaks to me and I'm just, and I love you and your dad's an asshole and I wish you were, that's not helpful. He's also suffering over there. And I said to God, just give me peace. Give me peace. So when Alex talks to me and we engage and I engage with his father, it's peace. Your will be done, Father. Your will, please, 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 at all times, your will be done. I hope that helps.
Amazing. We might have time for one last short question. And if not, Nadia, I'm going to ask you to go ahead and pray us out. Going once, going twice. You can also you have 4 minutes, so you can even share some wisdom before you pray us out, or share some out. Maybe you want to put a plug in for working with others, encouraging people to work with others. Say what you've gotten out of that, and then just go ahead and pray us out. I'm not.
You don't need to invite me a second time to talk about.
Give that 12-step plug and then pray us out.
Yeah. You don't need to ask me twice to
I
give a
will.
plug for
I
working with
will.
others. This
Yeah,
is
I
my,
will.
if you are in this room and you are not helping others, you are working an 11-step program, my love. And I have never heard of an 11-step program working. I have not. And if you have heard of it, come to me and tell me, Nadia, you're wrong. It is a 12-step program. And in the 12th step, and some of you are going, yeah, but I'm only 3 weeks in. I've only got 2 hours. Go and find somewhere where you can help. Go find a place. You heard Karen now, the oncology center. Even if you just go and just take a flower to each of those people. Go to the local shelter. Go to the local soup kitchen. Go to your municipality and ask them, like, what projects have you guys got going? Where do you need extra hands? If you can't sponsor yet and you're not there, or your sponsor says you're not ready, there's a way to help others.
Yeah, how about this one? How about this one if you're busy? Because I work, I'm a single parent of 6 kids. I'm going back to school for my master's degree. But how about this one? I was just on a retreat and I noticed 2 women weren't there. I was just calling them and say, hey, I really missed you. We missed your vibe around. I hope to see you soon. Boom, service. Don't make it a bigger deal than it is.
Yeah.
And just think about someone.
That's it. The book also says,
Safe
just
in the
turn
mist.
your thoughts.
Just to add a small thing for that, once a few of my sponsors are quite young, doing some washing up, helping the parents that are providing free accommodation for you. Start there. You don't even have to go out of the house.
I love it. And also, even when you're a busy parent like Karen is, she's serving her kids. She's working this program like her life depends on it. It is not easy. I have walked a long road with her. She is serving her kids by working this program. That is how Karen is serving her kids. Besides being a mom and being there for the, all the bar mitzvahs and the parties. Yeah, you're serving your kids, sister, like an absolute
But it's like
soldier.
when I talk to my sponsee, I have more energy to fold the laundry, make food, and and it helps me multitask.
Oh, yes.
With the spring in my step, the one I'm at home the whole day. It's
just very quickly, Brandy says, can you share about sponsoring someone you don't like or feel comfortable with? Hello. Selfishness, self-centered.
I don't have time for good things when you're doing holy things and you're helping people beyond space and time,
We don't get to choose who we work with. God tells us who we work with. So we pray a sick man's prayer. And to remember that they are very sick. They need our love and our guidance and our tolerance. You've got what she wants. All right, our lines are getting a little bit crossed here. I'm going to pray us out with the St. Francis prayer. Thank you so much, everybody. Thank you. And may God bless you and keep you and bless you abundantly out of your socks, I love all of you so much. Father.
Amen. Amen. Thank you, Nadia. Go ahead.
Please make me a channel, make us a channel of your peace, Lord. That where there is hatred, let us sow love. Where there is injury, let us sow pardon. And where there is doubt, let us bring faith. And where there is darkness, let us shine your light. God, we ask that we don't seek to be understood, that we don't seek to be heard, and that we don't seek to be pardoned and forgiven, that we rather listen, that we rather forgive, that we rather help, and that we rather love. For it is in giving that we receive, and it is in dying that we are born to eternal life. Amen. Thank you so much.